Hi, this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing a beginner level layout. This is for quarter number 3 of this year. It's the third beginner layout in this series, so I hope you like it. And I'm going to use some of our National Scrapbook paper, which is that beautiful lemon lime bright colored paper, to show this one to you. I hope you enjoy it. It's going to be fun. Let's check it out. Okay, so as you can see, I have the beginner project recipe from quarter 3 right here out on my desk. I have 2 pieces of our dark green cardstock. Those are going to be our base sheets. And then I have this piece of lemon lime paper from our National Scrapbook Day kit. And it has these kind of sunbursts on the back that we're going to use as our one piece of paper, because these beginner project recipes, as you can see from the cutting guide here, only require one designer sheet of paper, but you do have to have a base sheet or a page that you're working on to create them. So this is going to be a 2-page spread, and you can see, looking at the design down here, you'll remember on a project recipe they show you what the finished layout looks like. Then they show you what we call a sketch of the finished, or a sketch of the layout that's done in grays and has measurements of the photos on it. And then they give you a cutting guide. They give you a list of ingredients in case you're not sure. Then they give you a cutting guide with measurements of how to cut your paper to create this layout. And then actually for the beginner project recipes that they've been putting out, they actually give you suggestions and show you. You select your papers. This is how next you cut them. It gives you a step-by-step instruction of how to assemble each piece. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you today, and we'll just walk through it step by step. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and just take a look at the cutting guide, move that paper to the top. I'm going to move my base sheets to the side because I'm not going to really need them right away. So I'm just going to set them over here, but I'm going to keep that in view so I can look at it. We're going to cut this piece of paper, and you'll notice I have a couple of other things on my desk, but right now I just want you to focus on the main piece of paper we're going to cut. There's no directionality to the print on this paper, or the design of the paper, so it doesn't matter which orientation you give your sheet. Sometimes it matters. So when I give you instructions, when I'm doing one of my other videos, I try to point that out when there is a directional paper that I'm cutting, so that you will remember that when you are cutting yours. So the first cut, generally these are designed so that you start cutting on the left hand side and you work your way across the piece of paper. Occasionally when I'm doing a project recipe instructional video, I will tell you to cut it. I'm going to cut it differently, and I'll usually explain why I'm going to cut it differently. This one just has straight cuts. We're not going to worry about cutting it any other way than exactly the way they designed it, and that's cutting left to right. So I'm going to line my piece of paper up with my 6-inch mark, and those of you who've watched my channel before know that I have this cute little tab out here that shows me where 6 inches is, because the CM trimmer, as fabulous as it is, doesn't go out to 6 inches. So we're going to cut 6 inches, and there's one sheet. Then we're going to cut 4 more pieces that are all 1.5 inches. Now this CM trimmer will go to 1 3/4 of an inch on this side, and it's always better to put the balance of the paper that you're trimming, the widest piece of that, on the left, so that you can use more shoulder and keep your paper straight, as straight as possible. So if you're cutting 1 3/4 of an inch or less, always measure on the right hand side of your trimmer. That way you're more apt to keep your paper straight. So I'm going to just scoot this paper out here to the edge where it's at 1.5. And these grid marks are fantastic. They're my favorite thing when I'm measuring, because oftentimes I will use them more than the measurement at the top or the bottom of the trimmer, because they help me keep my paper exactly straight. So I'm cutting it at 1.5. I cut 2 at 1.5. I'm going to cut another, make a third cut at 1.5. And then this last piece is going to be just a little bit off. And let me explain how that can be. If you are cutting right on top of the number, or just beyond the number, or just before the number, you're going to get a different cut and end up with sometimes just a little bit extra on your last piece, which is what I have gotten here. So I'm just trimming off that little tiny bit extra.
Pretty.
Thanks. Okay, so now we're going to assemble, believe it or not. This one goes together very, very quickly. Okay, so I'm just going to flip back to my top piece, my top instruction sheet. I'm still going to keep it off here to the side so that I can see it, but I can work on my layout without interfering. Okay, so I'm just going to slide my 2 base sheets out like this. And I'm going to lay out my pieces to make sure that I like where they are going to go. So this piece is going to go on the left side of the left page. Then we're going to take one piece of our lemons, and it's going to go at the very top horizontally, and another piece that's going to go on the bottom horizontally. Then we're going to flip that over, and we're going to do another piece right up alongside it on the top and on the bottom. That's why you want to make sure your paper is one that you like both sides of. And then we're going to be able to add our photos and our embellishments. So I'm going to go ahead and add or put this page on using my permanent adhesive. I'm going to go down, leaving about 1/2 inch of adhesive each time I touch the paper, and I usually, on a 12-inch edge, I will usually put it down 5 times, one on each end, one in the middle, and one in between all of those. And then I also put one on the very, very bottom or top. Yeah, as my daughter says, for good luck. All right, so we're just going to adhere that right to the very, very edge of our paper, just like that. And it's so beautiful. CM's paper is just so pretty. Sometimes you don't want to cover it up, and so this is a layout definitely that you can use where you're not going to be covering up much of the paper at all. So again, a 12-inch edge, so I've gone every couple inches and I've put my adhesive just a little bit. You don't want to go from corner to corner all the way along the edge. That would be wasteful. And our adhesive is one of the best, bless you, one of the best things about Creative Memories is their archival quality adhesive. I have put scrapbooks together since I was young, and they have fallen apart. The ones I put together when I was very, very young. The ones I have put together since I have been using Creative Memories, so for the past 25 years, are still in the same condition despite all of our many, many moves as a military family. The page protectors get a little scrunched, and sometimes they look a little bit old. because of all of those moves, but the adhesive's still going strong, which just solidifies my snobbery for using nothing but CM adhesive.
Okay.
On my albums. I use other adhesive sometimes when I'm putting a card together or something like that, but
It's okay to be a snob about something.
is that okay?
I'm a water snob. Christy's a popcorn snob. You're a adhesive snob.
Chrissy's a popcorn snob?
Yeah. She doesn't like movie popcorn.
Oh. Well, you know, to be honest, some movie popcorn can get really not...
It can get really salty.
Yeah.
But some movie popcorn, maybe it's because it was my first job. And it just
So movie popcorn in general, if it's fresh, is a really, really yummy thing, as long as you don't oversalt it. But probably not very good for us, so let's just not go there. Okay, so taking a look at our project recipe one more time so that we can see where the pictures are all going to go. And I'm seeing now that I think I'm going to be one template short. How did I do that? Okay, well, at any rate. So you're gonna trim your photos to 3.5 by 5.5. Now I can hear you saying now, but what if I don't want to trim my photos? Well, really that's just 1/4 of an inch all the way around, and typically when you focus your camera on something, what you are trying to capture is going to be in the middle of the lens, right? So if you take 1/4 of an inch off of every edge, or 1/2 inch off of the short side and 1/2 inch off the long side, your subject is still going to be in the middle, pretty close, or in the middle of your photo. So don't panic that you need to cut your pictures down to 3.5 by 5.5 in order to make them work for this. As you can tell, there is a little bit of extra play, a little bit of extra room, so you actually could make them a little wider. I think I would still stick with the 5.5 high, but you could conceivably go a little bit wider and make it more like a 3 3/4 inch wide picture. 3 3/4 by 5.5 would probably fit, and you'd still end up with a nice border around them, which is the point here. All right, and so then down this side of the left page, you're also going to use 5.5 by 3.5, and just pretend there's another one right here, because for some reason, I don't know, I did not get that 6th one, and you can see there's another one that they've got out here. Now this one that they've got out here on top of the cute border paper, you can use it for a photo, or you can use it for an embellishment. You can see in the example they've got here that they chose to use it as an embellishing or a title block. So they put a sticker on here that says "You Are My Sunshine." That works as kind of a title for the layout. And then they added just a little piece down here that they added some journaling to, which is really cute and very effective. They also could have probably written a little note on this little pocket that they used as an embellishment over here, and that would have been fine too. If you're using a lighter colored paper like I've got here, you can actually draw or write your journaling on this paper and it would be fine. So just depending on what you want to do. You could actually, if you have more photos that you want to add, you could add more photos in right here. More, I wouldn't do 4x4s, I would do 3.5 by 3.5, but you can see how you could add 3 more photos and get 6 photos on this page and 3 on this page, and you aren't sacrificing a whole lot of your designer paper. You're still getting to see that pretty paper through. All right, so then you would just add embellishments, and they've got some embellishments here, here, and here. And when you embellish, you just add usually an odd number of items together to create what we call a cluster. You've heard me talk about clusters before. And today I'm going to use our lemon lime punch to just punch some things out of some scraps that I have. And so I'm going to flip my punch over, and I'm going to punch out a bunch of these cute little lemons and limes so that I can add them to my layout. And these will serve as my embellishments because I don't have any stickers that go with this. So we've got a few of those. We'll have a few of these. This paper just keeps wanting to get hung up. Okay, we'll have a few of these. This is just cardstock. And we probably don't need all of these, but you know. And sometimes it's fun to have a bunch that you can play with. And then I have just some light green here. This is cardstock also. All right, so let's make some clusters, and then we'll use our foam squares to pop them off the page so that they have a little bit more interest going on. Okay, so when I make a cluster of something that's not already sticky, because often we're making clusters and we're using stickers, but obviously that's not the case here. So when I'm making a cluster and I'm using paper, I try hard to go ahead and just use repositionable adhesive so I can rub it off if I get it somewhere where I don't want it. Okay, so, and I make my cluster, get everything assembled, and then I will take and add a foam square. Usually I will try to limit the number of large foam squares I use because we have so many more of the small ones. Although we now have, starting tomorrow, or well, at the point that I'm doing this video, so starting today actually, releasing at noon is, am I wrong? Did they already release? I don't know. I'm sorry. I've been on vacation and I apologize, but they're making a multi-pack that has the small ones, the large ones, and a size that's in between, so that you have 3 different sizes that you can play with now, which is super fun. And much better. We actually got to play with some of those in a sample pack that we won. If we had oh no, you know what? I'm telling a tale again. Okay, so no, we could purchase some of those if we wanted. In an adhesive buffet earlier in the year. So I took advantage of that and got some, and they are super fun. Actually, it wasn't this year. Maybe it was last year. Gosh. I just need to stop. I think I'm telling tales out of school. All right. So I don't put foam squares on absolutely every inch of what I'm going to put down. You can see there's 3 of them on this particular one, and this one is going to go over here on or near the space that has that would have a photo normally. So I'm just going to put this up here a little ways. That way if I want to, I can add a photo, or I can slide that in there and put a title or journaling on that, and that'll work nicely for my needs. Okay, let's see. Should we do one that's mainly limes for the top over there? Lime and the lime, and I love this little star paper. It's super cute with the plaid on the back. The plaid is cute. Okay, so I think that's in the new barbecue collection that was a promotion here recently. Don't discount the promotions and just say, oh, I don't not want or need that, because sometimes, oh my gosh, most of the time it's super cute stuff, but sometimes you just get real gems like this little itty bitty tiny star paper. Really cute stuff. All right, so that's gonna go right there, and you can see how it kind of guides your eye across the paper. I suppose that's a little harder to do when I have all this stuff spread out all over on top of everything. But let me just move the extra things so you can see it a little bit better. If you wanted, you could put another cluster right here, and that would be totally all right, especially if you're using this as your title page. Or just put one down here and it does your triangle a little bit wider, which is nice. We still have a triangle here, it's just a little more narrow, which is okay too. All right, so this is your beginner's layout number 3 for quarter number 3, and we'll be back with one for quarter number 4, I'm sure. Probably in the fall, September, October, probably October time frame, I'm thinking. All right, thanks so much for joining me. If you have any questions at all, be sure you put a comment, and I'm always really good about responding to all the comments. So if you have a question or a comment, please be sure that you send it to me. And don't forget to like and subscribe the video so that so that you'll see my other videos to come. And set your notifications so you always get notified when there's something new. All right? Thanks so much for joining me. And until next time, I hope you have many more creative moments. Have a great day now.